A new protocol just launched. New airdrop opportunities across this chain just became quite viral, and if you position right now, it will be very early with TVLs below 10 million. So if you want to know which protocols to find out, so yeah, watch this video until the end. So let's just get into it. So it's called MegaETH, a new layer 2 on EVM. So what's special about it? It's a very high speed chain. They said they're faster than Solana, but what's interesting about this is the Mega token, which is their native token. If you actually participate on their ICO or their public sale 2 months ago on December or November, you will be eligible for their upcoming token. However, the upcoming token will not be released or will not be launched if the KPIs will be reached. So what are the KPIs? So the first KPI is 500 million USD. So a baseline of 500 million USDM, which is native MegaETH stablecoin, must circulate within the market to allow the flywheel to kick off. And by the way, USDM is actually a yield-bearing stablecoin, and the yield that came from the USDM stablecoin will be used for future Mega token buybacks. So yeah, they're doing the same thing like Hyperliquid, but the funds that they will be using is from the yields accumulated from USDM. So yeah, that's one of the interesting part about the Mega token and USDM. And also 10 Mafia apps, which is the apps native on MegaETH, that will be fully deployed. And lastly, the third KPI is 3 apps within 50k daily fees for the last 30 days. So expect it to be around 30 days to unfold. They will be delaying their token launch, not when the mainnet is launched right now, but they will have to wait for all these 3 KPIs to be reached. Then you will be able to get your Mega token. However, there are 3 protocols that worth highlighting and worth paying attention to. Some are not available to the public right now, but if you got invite codes, you can actually and yeah, use the protocol quite early. First protocol that we're covering here is Avon. So Avon is the lending and borrowing protocol native to MegaETH, and one of their latest products is called the Mega Vault. So this Mega Vault aggregates your funds into the best yield opportunities across MegaETH, and it's called Avon strategy here, the adapter. And yeah, the APYs are not yet live for now, but you will have like a 3x Avon's point boost. And by the way, you have to use USDM stablecoin in order to be eligible to deposit into this vault. And don't forget to bridge your funds into MegaETH first. So if you're wondering how to actually bridge to MegaETH, there's also one project which is actually very interesting. Why? Because it's self-funded, native to MegaETH, and the last self-funded protocol that actually did very well is actually Hyperliquid. So just like Hyperliquid, PrismFi is also self-funded, so it doesn't accept any money from investors like venture capitals or private equities. They are raising this by their own money, using their own funds, and that is why it's quite interesting. It's called PrismFi, and yeah, this is their DEX. So you can bridge your ETH from mainnet from Prism. And I think they haven't made an announcement of Prism points or PrismFi points, but I think doing swaps, doing trades on their protocol quite early, like in days like this, will actually benefit you more because you'll get more shares of the points program. You can do a lot of things in this app. If you can see here, there will be prediction markets coming soon. You can trade perps or trade spot here on PrismFi. You can also earn, you can also deposit into some vaults and earn yield, or even provide liquidity. Here's an interesting one. 240k provided in this liquidity pool. So it's a USDT0 USDM liquidity pool, and it's interesting because they will be incentivized sooner or later, because this is a very early stage of the public mainnet launch for MegaETH. Yeah, PrismFi is really interesting in my opinion. Another one, moving on, is Supernova. So Supernova is like Pendle, but it's on MegaETH. What it lets you do here is quite interesting. By the way, you have to get your access code in order to trade and farm this protocol. But it's quite interesting. Not only that it's native on MegaETH and it's very early, but it's also backed by YZI. So this is quite interesting. So YZI is actually investing MegaETH native chain. So I think sooner or later Supernova will actually launch on BNB chains, also backed by YZI. That's just pure speculation, but it might be interesting to watch. And what it lets you do is actually, if you're, for example, if you're trading on Aave, if you're lending yields on Aave, if you want to hedge your yields, get fixed yields on Aave, you can lock your yields here from Supernova. So it's a yield trading protocol. It's very new, and the integrations are quite, so there's not a lot of protocols that you can trade your interest rates with Supernova, but it's very worth noticing, and be aware of this project on MegaETH. Yeah, so those three projects are the ones that we have an eye on, and it's very interesting because those are like fundamental DeFi projects on the newly launched chain, MegaETH. And moving on to the next interesting airdrop is actually Ethena. I think you might be aware of this, that USDE, you can use USDE on different perp dexes like Ethereal and Hyena trade, which Hyena is actually using Hyperliquid's infrastructure to actually trade on. But if you are trading on Ethereal or Hyena, there will be 100 million points distributed weekly per venue over the next 6 months, and it's rolling out right now. So this is quite interesting. So you can get points on top of hedging your on doing delta neutral on both Ethereal and Hyena. So you can maybe open long on Ethereal, but go short on Hyena. So the value of your USD doesn't fluctuate that much, but you will still be getting and accruing points from Ethena, Hyena, because these two are still tokenless, and you can also get 100 million points from Ethena. So it's yield over yield, and by the way, if you are opening like trades on Ethereal and Hyena, you can also be eligible for yields on your collaterals there. So it's very interesting. So just by opening longs or shorts, you can also be getting like 5% base yield. So yeah, it's super interesting, especially for conservative players in this very volatile market. Next one is also something related to perps DEX, which is Base. So Base token is introduced by their foundation, Base. By the way, Base1x is actually a perps trading app that is routing your funds into Hyperliquid, Hyena, all those HIP3 users, which is Hyperliquid's infrastructure for perp DEXs, will be in their app. And if you have been using their app to trade, and by the way, we actually covered Base a lot of times on our premium, on our letter. You should be aware of this quite well-known protocol. And congratulations if you have been farming it. And yeah, I think the claim will be eligible, will be open on March. And yeah, I think that's it for this week's airdrop alpha. If you want more detailed guides and more list of the ongoing airdrops, most promising airdrops with high yields and high rewards, you can go to our premium. You can go to our premium subscription. It's 50% off right now, as long as ETH is under 3,000, 3K. So yeah, I think that's it for me. Visit our news on todaydefi.com for the latest free news, and I'll see you on the next video.